Growing your Twitch channel is hard. Lucky for you, there's a cheat code you can use. It's not your pro gameplay that draws people towards you. It's what you do outside of your gaming setup that counts. Welcome to Outside the Capture Card, the #1 podcast for gaming streamers who want to level up their online charisma, build real friendships, and grow a thriving community while enjoying their favorite games.
All right, Mr. rbz2005, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, you were streaming a few minutes ago and you're playing this indie game. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, I was playing the Planet of Lana, which is basically a game on Xbox. I tend to play games before they get off the Xbox, so I can have a reason why I'm paying the Xbox fee.
Okay, so it's from the Game Pass, I think, right?
Yeah, the Xbox Game Pass. So basically a monthly subscription that you pay, and then you have access to different games and stuff like that.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I usually get my free games from other places like Amazon Prime or from Epic, but I think Game Pass allows you to play games, but I think some of them have a time limit, right?
The Game Pass one I do like about it is there's day one releases, so you can. I think basically the new one is Expedition 33 just came out recently, so that's a big one that people have been playing. But also, sometimes I just don't notice all the games that come in, and so I wanted to play that one before it leaves. In a couple of weeks, it'll be taken off, so figured I'd finish that one off.
Yeah, I saw a bit of it, and I think I only reached the part where the streamer was doing some platform hopping on top of a beach, and it looked very interesting.
Yeah, there's some swimsuits and other random things in there, and that people have been going for those items in the game. I haven't gone that far yet. I'm pretty early in the game.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. All right, so how do you describe in your own words what content you put out there on Twitch?
I would consider myself more of a hobby streamer, so I tend to stream just for fun in a sense. So I came to streaming basically as a person that had a little extra time, wanted to do something fun, and end up kind of streaming games. So I usually stream a variety of different games. I used to only stream Pokemon, which honestly, if you're starting off, probably a good way to go is just stick with one game. But as you kind of get a community, then it helps to kind of broaden and kind of try out different things. Plus, you'll probably get bored if you play the same game over and over again. So it's kind of good to have variety. So I've played stuff like Peppa Pig, Fortnite, a lot of indie games like Planet of Lana, all kinds of stuff, Undertale. So I'm a little bit of a harder case of defining what game because you don't really know what next day I'll be streaming.
Oh yeah, and you and I played the Fortnite a few times, right?
Yeah, we played Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, and other games like that, which are cool because they're free games, so anyone can technically play them.
Well, they're technically free, quote unquote, because you gotta pay for the cool cosmetics, right?
Yeah, free cosmetics are always going to cost a little money, but yeah, you don't need to buy the cosmetics. But yeah, if you don't want to be known as the default character, yeah, you probably might want something out of there. I don't know. It depends on your take on what you want to do.
Yeah, like you want to be like one of the cool kids in high school, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely they got to make their money somehow, and sometimes to support them, it helps to buy some cosmetics and stuff like that. So it kind of varies on person to person, though. You don't need to buy them, get an advantage. Some games I don't like it when it's like a pay for win kind of thing.
Oh yeah, but I think a lot of the games that I play are just cosmetic stuff.
Those cosmetics ones are kind of fun. It's just like something added value to look at.
Oh yeah. I think there's some games that are like as you said, it's like pay to win. Like for example, I think Helldivers 2, you get specific weapons that you can't get for free, that you have to pay the war bond or battle pass just to get those weapons.
And then some of the stuff like Genshin or other games like that, where it's like certain characters are behind paywalls or raffling of characters. Those are the ones like a little bit more pay to win a little bit in my ways. But yeah, like something like Fortnite where it's not really pay to win, it's just basically cosmetics. But yeah, there is the whole, are you cool enough to have this one skin that only everyone else has and you were season 1 there for it? I was like, it's a little different.
Yeah, I know a friend of mine spent at least $1,000 in one sitting just to get a specific character in Genshin.
Oh yeah, like I can imagine. I hear horror stories, the whales of Genshin that
Oh
basically
yeah,
keep the company afloat.
yeah. And I don't know if this is true, but I think somebody allegedly broke his own marriage just because of Genshin, because he got the money from the couple's emergency account just to roll for a specific character in Genshin.
Oh yeah, I've seen horror stories on Reddit. You ever see that? I don't know how true they are because it's Reddit, but there's usually discussions, and one of them was one lady spending much of money on Monopoly Go, which is another pay to win game. So it's just crazy
Mhm.
the things you hear and see.
Oh yeah, you're not sure if what people are saying on Reddit are true, right? Because there's no way of verifying it, but they're still scary
Yeah,
though.
they do show receipts, but yes, yeah, it's kind of crazy the things you hear and see. Yeah.
You mentioned that you started only playing Pokemon, right?
Yeah,
Tell me more about that.
I originally
Hmm.
started on Twitch because it was during the beginning of the pandemic, and I was basically stuck at home. Kind of, it was a little before
Hmm.
actually the whole breakdown happened. But I was at
Hmm.
home. I was like not really doing anything, and I used to do play a lot of Pokemon Sword and Shield,
Hmm.
and there was ability to basically give out Pokemon in a certain way. And I started off there, ironically, and grew a community doing that. And then
Hmm.
eventually there's like a time when you just kind of get tired of playing the same game and you kind of branch out. But yeah, I started playing
Oh yeah.
Pokemon, and that's what it led me to like playing other games and stuff like that. But it was pretty fun. And when I first started playing, ironically, my community was a lot of people from Philippines because I posted on a Filipinos Facebook group, and it was kind of like where I brought people in, and then if you have enough viewers, other people notice you, and then you kind of
Mhm.
get new people in your game and stuff. It was kind of interesting.
Wow. So you actually promoted yourself in a Filipino
I
Twitch group
actually
on Facebook, right?
what had happened back in the day, a lot of times I feel a lot of people did, especially Pokemon, is they would post it on Facebook or other groups like Reddit or something like that. And ironically, I used to stream early in the morning because that was just an easier time for me
Hmm.
to stream. And ironically, it matched
Hmm.
up with people in the Philippines. It's a nighttime for them. So I was streaming at 7 in the morning,
Oh yeah.
California time, but over there it's like nighttime for them. And so people would just pop up in my stream. And then as COVID happened, people are all staying up, kids were at home not doing anything, and then more people showed up to my stream even though it was early in the morning. And I would stream like from I think like 7 a.m. to 10 or 11 a.m., and then I was done the rest of the day. And it was just kind of funny how the
Oh,
people
okay.
showed up and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's funny because I
Yeah.
know somebody else who did something similar too, but not with Pokemon though, but with this other space exploration game called Elite Dangerous. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
No, I never heard of that one. I'm not as familiar with that.
Oh, okay, because it's like a space exploration game where you own like a ship or maybe several ships, and then you go explore the vast number of planets.
Oh, okay.
And also, he gets most of his viewers from the UK instead of the Philippines.
Yeah, because I
So it's very
feel
similar both.
yeah, it varies because like depending on what language you speak and the population you're looking for, it can vary. And for example, I spoke only English, but some people think I'm Filipino, some people think I'm Hispanic, some people think it's like so like I'm very like maybe for them they saw like a little bit into me with them, and they're just like, hey, that's cool, you're very chill. And originally I never did I when I first started streaming, I didn't have a face cam or anything, I just had my voice. And so like they would just see
Mm.
the screen, and I would just like I had like a really clumsy little overlay kind of thing, and it was just kind of like, okay guys, who wants to trade, we're trading here, we're trading that. And it was just kind of funny how I first started. It was very different than how I now stream, I would say.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that you just started out with just your voice. Like you didn't have your webcam
Yeah,
yet at that time.
the first people that came to my stream, which what if you stream enough, you notice there's a trend of people coming in and going. Is some people that are
Hmm.
from the beginning do know that period, and other people don't know that period. So some of you guys may never know, and I was just basically a voice person. And then the reason I wasn't even like I was afraid to show my face. It was just that I had a really terrible camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it was just like I was also in the living room, and so I used to stream in the living
Mm.
room, and it would just be awkward, just like you see me in the living room with a random camera, and behind me is the sofa and random things and chandelier and stuff like that. It'd be kind of an awkward situation.
Oh yeah, because I totally get that. Presentation is kind of important because you don't want to have some random stuff at the back, right? I guess that's why people put something to cover the back of that
Yeah.
whatever is behind them, so that they don't see all these random things. I totally get that.
Yeah, because like it's kind of like when you look at Twitch and there's some like more renowned streamers that have thousands of viewers and they have like a whole setup of a whole room that basically they stream from, and then you're like in a dark dinky room with your terrible camera and your terrible mic, and you're like, who are they gonna watch more? This guy that's like in his dinky place, or are they gonna see the guy that has all light setups correctly and crazy stuff, right? So it's the difference
Yeah.
between streaming, I would say.
So you think you're gonna upgrade your setup and have a huge Snorlax at the back?
No, I have a green screen. For anyone that doesn't know me, I have a green screen, which ironically I got from the leftover boxes from my screens, my two desktop screens. I basically combine them with tape and then put Walmart paper that's green and just have a green screen, and I'm
Oh.
using that. So it's a very cheap design. That's why you right now I'm not really at a store or stuff like that. If you do, if you do see a video of me, but I am just like in my room with a green screen behind me, and I just put random pictures behind me. The funniest time is when I started streaming too. I started making fun of, and people literally thought I was a store, and like they would come to my stream like, "Oh my god, are you streaming from a store?" And I'm like, "No, this is just a background." And they're like, "Oh my god, I thought you were streaming from the store." It's usually funnier with the younger kids because they'll be like, "What the hell? Are you a manager of the store or something?" I was like, "No."
Yeah. I think you're like the visual representation of a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's kind of funny. A Pokemon store, right? It's just should have Pokemon randomly in there.
Oh yeah. Speaking of talking with different kinds of people, you have like 3,000 plus followers on Twitch, which is very impressive. And I just want to pick your brain a little bit here. I know getting that many followers is something that's very difficult to do, especially for people who are either brand new or have been doing it for years.
Mhm.
Like, I just want to get some ideas on how you're able to meet all these kinds of viewers who go to your streams regularly.
I would say Twitch streaming is kind of a luck, but also opportunity, putting
Hmm.
yourself in an opportunity space. So in my situation, I was streaming Pokemon, which was relatively a newer game called Pokemon Sword and Shield, which is on Nintendo Switch.
Hmm.
And there wasn't many
Yeah.
streamers streaming that game, giving out Pokemon, shiny Pokemon. For anyone who doesn't know what shiny Pokemon is, basically shiny Pokemon or Pokemon that have alternative colors than typically have. And if you don't know Pokemon, Pokemon are just like kind of a creature that's like an animal, and that
Yep.
most people should know if they know Pikachu, you know what a Pokemon is. I started streaming Pokemon as a way to like pass time and just hand them out. And originally the reason I even did Twitch was I was originally giving out Pokemon on Facebook groups, and I was getting people messaging me constantly, like, "What Pokemon are you? Or who are you trading with? What like? Where are you in the trades? Blah blah blah." And I was just like, "How am I going to visualize to show them that I'm trading with who I'm trading with, and they won't stop asking me who I'm trading with and who I'm actually sending it to?" So then I was like, you know what? Let's use Twitch as an object. So I posted, "I'm giving away Pokemon on Twitch," something along the lines like, "Give away Pokemon
Mhm.
using this code. I'll be streaming on Twitch, and you can see me trade whoever you trade with," right? So people started
Mhm.
showing up to my stream, and I was just basically telling like, "Okay, which Pokemon do you want?" And I would trade them back to that one. And it was basically having a means to an end. And so instead of having like
Mhm.
visually someone asking me, I was able to visually show them the trades, and that way they knew where it was going,
Mhm.
and they would have less people asking me this thing. So ironically, I started Twitch as a solution to a problem.
Okay.
because apparently there wasn't that many people trading Pokemon online, it became like I was one of the people that would did it. So it was like a niche. So if
Oh,
you
okay.
start Twitch, it helps like with a niche. Like it may be a popular
Mm-hmm.
game or may not be, or something abnormal to the game. For example, some people hunt for shiny Pokemon, which is they keep on trying to hunt for shiny Pokemon. Other people do other things. But if you find a
Mm-hmm.
niche, that's kind of the best way to learn a community and gain like following. And
Mm-hmm.
then as you get a following, you can literally switch games if you need to. But as you will know, and I think you probably know yourself, is when you change a game, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
get new people and other people are going to leave. And so you
Yep.
kind of learn about new people, gain people, lose people. And there's always going to be ups and downs. And especially, for example, I played Pokemon. And so it happened to be in a time when the DLC for Sword and Shield was, which was Count Tundra, and a DLC is like
Mm-hmm.
downloadable content. It's like additional access to a game. And so I was went from like probably 5, 10 viewers to basically at that time it was like 90 viewers at one point. It was kind of crazy. I was
Oh,
just like,
wow.
yeah, it was a little crazy at that
Crazy.
point. I mean, I ended up dropping down like 20, and then like now it varies. Since I provide variety, it's very different. But if you're really looking for views, I would say start with a niche, something that you enjoy. I think my first year of Twitch, I had probably like thousands of hours on Pokemon. And if you're in a niche, you gotta enjoy that or you're gonna have a horrible time playing that
Oh,
game.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, so you need something you enjoy, whether it's shiny hunting, whether it's playing Dark Souls or whatever thing you love doing. That's probably what
Mm-hmm.
you want to do. Because if you come with the mindset like, "Hey, I just want to make money," you're probably gonna not gonna
Mm-hmm.
survive on Twitch because it's there's our ups
Oh,
and
yeah.
downs all the time. And I would say it's more for people that want to have that enjoyment. I mean, some people luck out. Like if you luck out, props to you. That's amazing. But I feel like the long run, a lot of people they have misconception of what is successful and what is not, and
Mm-hmm.
also what you want to gain from it. If you want to be like, the next PewDiePie, probably not going to happen. If you want to be a
Okay, yeah.
person that has like 10 plus viewers and having a good time, enjoying the time and not like necessarily making money, but just having a fun time, then that's something possible. But it just varies on person to
Mm.
person, I would say. What's your take on the whole situation with Twitch and viewers and whatnot?
It's very contagious when somebody is very passionate about
Yeah.
something. And also, there's this idea about being interactive with the viewers. And like in your case, when
Yeah.
trading Pokemon on Pokemon Sword and
Yeah.
Shield. So I think that interaction with other viewers, as opposed to them just listening or just chatting and just doing nothing else with whoever is streaming, I think there's a huge difference between that and
Yeah.
doing something with the audience. And I think that makes them feel like they're really part of the community, or they feel like they are getting something out of it. So I think
Yeah.
that's a good way to create a thriving community if you're just starting out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Interaction is a really big one, especially if you're a newer streamer, because you're gonna like. Not many people are gonna watch you passively. Some people do, but some people want
Hmm.
some form of community and interaction with the person, like you said. And that's, for example, was trading, and then also when I kind of branched out, my other game I was playing was Among Us. When Among Us was kind of a popular game, and that's when I
Oh yeah,
like. I remember Sunday nights I would just be playing Among Us with viewers, and it was just chaotic but funny and enjoyable time, I would say.
yeah. I know how chaotic Among Us could be.
Yeah, yeah. It depends on the personality that you have, but I think for me, what's always been, I guess, beneficial was humor, being humorous a little bit, because like you will
Oh
get
yeah.
people that are too straight edge a little bit and can't handle a comment, and then other people that can just like bounce off of it. And you like on Twitch, you got to bounce off it because people like to troll you all the time. So you just got to like throw
Oh
back
yeah.
a comment and like, oh really, huh? Oh really, huh? I see. So
And you got to be careful what you share on Twitch too.
oh yeah, I mean, I feel like that's anything in the world. You got to be careful what you show. You don't want to dox yourself, or you don't want to like
Yeah.
say anything controversial. I would say too much. I mean, some people it doesn't matter, but yeah,
Yeah, I think we were playing Fortnite at one time, and then we were playing with this other person, and we could not stop trolling him about his friend who's a female, and then he kept hanging out with her or something like that. I think we were trolling him
yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too is you're a streamer, you tend to get trolled on a lot. Not I mean even
Yeah,
sometimes the trolls themselves, but even your community will like to like tease you a lot. So if you can't handle
yeah,
teasing at all, then probably not the best for you, I would say. I mean most of my time like because I go by Z, like even though I'm rbz2005, I usually go by Z. Every time they use a Z thing on me, like they'll say you're sus or you're suspicious. Like they'll add Z's into anything. Like and it's just kind of I'm like, okay, okay, well I got it. I got it. I think I know what you guys are doing now.
I see. I see.
Yeah,
Z.
yeah, I know, right? Yes.
Okay, speaking of humor though, because I know you're into the whole humor thing with the whole candy store at the back, and you got the
Yeah.
Christmas sweater on.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
a Christmas
so
sweater. Damn.
well, Christmas in May.
I know Christmas in May. Well, actually, I go to the thrift store and I'm just like, it's relatively cheap. Might as well wear it. And it's a little chillier in San Diego. I know it's not chilly as some places, but for me, it's a little
Yeah,
chilly.
yeah, because I know some people that I interact with or some streamers that I view, they could be very serious and they are too focused on the game. But I know
Yeah.
some people who talk a lot. I think they interact with their chat, they banter sometimes, and just
Yeah.
put in a little bit of humor in there. How do you think people can develop that easygoing, that easy to approach personality, not just on streaming, but also in the chat,
I
as
think
you mentioned earlier?
you kind of made a good point. Sometimes people think like streaming is just playing the game, but in reality, it's about making a conversation in a way. Because when you go into streaming, you could theoretically, yeah, you could play, let's say you play Dark Souls, or let's say you play
Mm-hmm.
an action game, right? You're just, if you focus 100% on the game, people are, unless you're
Yeah.
like the best person that plays that game and you are like the top of the top, then people are
Mm-hmm.
probably not going to stay around because they're just going to go to the top of the top people. I'm not the best gamer, but people stick around because I make conversation or like someone will say something and I'll ask questions. For me, the biggest thing I've noticed with helps me with creating conversations is asking a question. Here's the thing I've noticed, even just because I've come from a psychology background, is people like talking about themselves. So you will enjoy talking about yourself. So if you ask a question, I usually ask a question as my stream title. It can be simple as, do you like vanilla or chocolate? Or like, does pineapple belong in pizza? Like something controversial. Sometimes people just come in and chat, and sometimes I'll forget the question. I don't remember, and they'll be like yelling vanilla, and I'm like, what's vanilla? I was like, what is he talking about? I was like, oh crap, the question, and I was like, oh okay. So asking questions are a big thing. And I also have like a redeem on my stream called Ask Me Anything or Question of the Day or something like that. And so I usually ask questions. A lot of stuff all based off like my real life. For example, today I went to a museum and I'll ask people like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
has anyone ever been on a ship museum, like a US Midway or something like that, right? So I'll ask questions that revolve around my life. And also someone will bring in comments like, for example, I play a lot of dating games, as you know, as
Oh
you say
yeah.
you play. And so I'll like as I'm playing the game, I'm like, would you date someone like this? Like if the girl didn't tell you that their brother was such and such, or I'll ask questions like that. Like something that'll pop up in the game and I'll like ask questions like, oh, does this girl look attracted to you? Or like, is this a no-no? Like if you didn't like her dad was actually the boss, would you date her or something like that? So I feel like
Mm.
asking questions is a big thing for me, and I feel like that especially at the beginning of the stream and just talking to people, because in the end scheme of things, I know there's like the whole thing about parasocial thing, but I think some people are just
Yep.
looking for a person to chat with and get along with and kind of have a semi relationship with, where they're like, hey, there's a person I can chill out and hang out with, versus like I'm gonna watch this person just for Elden Ring, or I'm just gonna watch this person for such and such, right? And then also
Yeah.
people when they go in, they actually prefer you not to be good at it. Because I played Legend of Zelda, right? I had no idea how to
Yep.
play it, and people would pop in, and like I was horrible at it. And then people were popping in, like explaining how to do things, and they love teaching. So they're just like trying to explain, okay,
Yeah.
this is how you dodge parry, this is how you do this, and so a lot of it's just like making conversation, I feel a lot of times, and
Yeah.
how you do that is really down to you and how your person is. I'm just an inquisitive person by nature, so mine is
Mm.
questions, and like me just like saying like, what would you do in this situation, or what do you guys think about the new Switch 2 or stuff like that? Would you pay for the Switch 2? So questions like that will park people to say stuff, and you may learn stuff about that, and you may learn about other people, and then that may create either friendships or future viewers or other things. That's the way I see it, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree that asking questions about other people's preferences or what other people's opinions about certain topics, it does open the doors for creating new connections, right? Not just getting to know the other person, but also maybe unlocking some common ground or some other common interest that you could get along with the other person, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like, imagine like you're not dating your viewers. Like I wouldn't recommend doing that. But the whole
Oh yeah,
idea is
no,
like,
no, no.
no, don't do that. But I'm just saying, like, even if you're making friends or anything like that, you make questions and you create like a conversation starter. Like, hey, do you like your eggs over easy or scrambled? Like something simple like that, and then it starts other conversations like, oh, what would you do in this situation? And I think it's just like when you're engaging, starting to know someone, I feel like one thing that you want to do is kind of just like learn about the person and try to be
Oh
inquisitive, like
yeah.
naturally. You just want to be inquisitive and say, like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
like, what would you do in this situation? And that leads you to learn more about them. And then maybe that can lead to
Mm-hmm.
something else. A lot of times you may even run to fellow streamers and you find out, like, hey, do you play this game? Oh, I never heard of this game. If you can show me how to play this game, I'll definitely try to play it. You learn things too as well. So it's a two-way
Yeah.
street. That's what I'm saying. It's like you
Yeah.
get to learn from them, they get to learn from you, and then you create conversation and stuff like that.
Yeah, I totally agree on that because being inquisitive and asking the right questions, I think that doesn't just apply to your chat or on Twitch or online, but also in IRL too.
I think it's kind of like the way you think of Twitch is basically you're trying to learn people and engage with them if you're reaching with them IRL to a certain degree. You do have to have that
Yeah.
like that border with some people and certain things, but you're kind of basically I jokingly say like speed dating, but in this case you're just trying to get to know people in a quick interaction, and
Yeah.
sometimes you may even only have one question to get them hooked or get them attached to you or get a response, because you cannot make everyone happy. And so you got to come
Oh
with that
yeah.
mindset that, you know, you're not everyone's person and not everyone's your person either. So you just got to come with that mindset that, hey, if they enjoy hanging out with you, they'll show up and hang out. If they don't, then you just got to move on, and they'll find someone else and you'll find someone else too.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that because I remember one time I met a couple of Twitch streamers and I was able to hang out in their communities, and then I felt
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't think they're for me because I feel like
Yeah.
their values are way different than my values and the values of the people that I usually hang out with. So there's a really little chemistry between their community and mine. So that's really tough.
So streaming is part of it is streaming a game and interacting in your chat, but another dimension of it is also interacting with other streamers. And you will learn, I think, once you get to the point where you're known with other people, there will be a point where you'll
Mhm.
learn that even the interaction with other streamers will be interesting. Because sometimes some streamers you'll get along really well. You'll play
Mhm.
games. Like for example, I play Baldur's Gate 3 with two other streamers and one friend of a streamer, and now we're pretty good
Yep.
friends. And then other people, you think you're going to get along with them, but then you never get invited to their collabs. You never get invited to anything that they do.
Mm.
And you're kind of like, did I do anything? Like, what did I say? Why is it they always excluding me? And you kind of have to live with the fact that not everyone's going to like you and not everyone is going
Yeah,
to be your
exactly.
person. And you just got to live with that fact that like that's going to happen in life. And unfortunately, you got to find those people.
Yeah, because whenever I interact with anybody on Twitch, I
Yeah.
always have this mindset that instead of thinking, I hope they like me,
Yeah.
but I'd rather think of, I wonder what this person is like. So it
Yeah.
allows me to detach from whatever outcome that comes out. And whatever outcome is out there, that's totally okay.
Yeah. And also the thing too is when you say like how they like, it can vary person to person. Some people act very different on Twitch than they do off stream. So one thing you
Oh,
may,
yeah.
for anyone that does want to do Twitch, you'll find out like you may meet someone online and they may act a certain way, and then you talk to them in the
Hmm.
DMs, like what should be, you know, direct messages to Discord or Twitter or whatever, or Twitch, and you may interact with them and they're very different people than they are. I'm known to be basically the same person pretty much. I'm not that different from online and offline, maybe a little more serious in certain aspects, but pretty much kind of the same. But some people are like totally different people, and you're like, who is this person online? Who is this person offline? And then you try to interact with them and you're like, wow, I don't know if I would like this person or I don't know if this person and I will get along. And it's just like, you know what? You just gotta go on with your life at that point, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how one person acts as a different persona when they go
Yeah.
live, and then another one and when you message them on the DMs.
Yeah, you don't
That's
want to
crazy. I
Google
don't think I've experienced it.
You have experienced it? I've experienced it a couple of times, unfortunately. I'm a little bit also very blunt on my interaction, so I will literally say what I think in my mind, so which can bring those people out at you. But I basically tell people how it is, but sometimes people don't like how it is. So I'm just like a little frank with people, and now like, what's the bottom line here? I'm not sure what you want. So yeah, I mean, most people I'm pretty chill with, and I'm very I would say fairly easygoing, but I know understand some people.
Mhm.
I know not everyone's cup of tea, and you can't make everyone happy, and you have to come with the mindset that you got to make yourself a little happy more than other people, and just live with the fact that not everyone can like you in some ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I experienced that a lot in my journey on Twitch too. Yeah, some people come and go, and
Yeah.
whenever people go, sometimes you never get closure on why they left.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is from my personal experience, there's some people that I don't even know where they disappeared to, and other people, I'm
Mhm.
probably the only person that talks to that person anymore because they literally left Twitch. You'll find people go in with hard mind of like, I want to be this certain person, I want to do this, and then you get to know them, and then off stream some drama happens and they
Mhm.
go MIA. Other people, I to this day, I literally text. I wouldn't recommend giving your phone number to everyone on Twitch, but what I recommend is someone that you know well enough that you know them enough that you can get to that point and they become an actual friend outside of Twitch and become a real person IRL. That's when you get to that stage. But there are some people that I have contact with that don't even talk to anyone on Twitch, and they are gone from that platform because of life situations or whatever it is for them. But yeah, there'll be people come and go, and then some people just come back out of nowhere. You'll know a
Yeah,
person,
yeah.
they'll be gone for a year or two, and then suddenly they're back, and you're like, whoa, where you been this whole time? That happens a lot on my stream actually. I will meet some viewers and I know who they are, but like I'll like, wait a minute, this guy looks familiar. Because you can on Twitch, for anyone that doesn't know, you can look at your history of talk with them. You can look at the history of a viewer, and then you're like, wait,
Yeah.
I haven't seen this viewer in like years. And they're like, hey Z, how you doing? And I'm like, where's this guy been this whole time? I was like, where's he been? So it's like, I'm like, where you been, man? I'm like, I haven't seen you like since Pokemon. I haven't streamed Pokemon in a year or two.
Yeah, I think that happened to me a couple of times.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're like, you'll meet people, gain people, and then people that come and go. That's the thing. It's like anything in life,
Yeah. Yeah, I remember my earliest followers, they just left.
Honestly, it probably average between 10 to 20 viewers, sometimes like lower than that, sometimes higher than that. And I mean, that's fair. 'Cause that's the thing too, is expectations. When you come into Twitch,
Yeah.
like your expectations is like hundreds of viewers, which is unrealistic in many ways. Like if you have
Oh, yeah.
like 20 or higher, you're actually doing really well on Twitch. That is a good number. You're not Pokemon,
Yeah.
but like most people, if you go on Twitch right now, they have 0 to 1 viewer. If you have more than
Yeah.
2 or 3 viewers, you are doing far well than most people on Twitch. And it's like that's
Oh, yeah.
it's crazy. That's what people's expectations is. Like they don't understand the reality versus expectations, and it's got to come in with that idea of like what expectation and reality are in some ways.
Yeah. And not just having these lofty expectations, but I think they lack a bit of self-awareness too.
Yeah,
Because I know some people don't rewatch their VODs and check what could they do better. Because either their mic volume's too low, or I don't think they're doing anything else besides playing the game.
Yeah, I mean, for example, I like one tip I would recommend people, like your podcast is about teaching people about maybe Twitch or whatever they are streaming. Like the biggest one is sound. I invested in the mic recently, and I feel like sound is like the biggest one you want to invest in
Yeah.
because you could have the most horrible camera and you can just turn it off if worst case scenario. And if you have a
Yeah.
voice and they can hear you audibly and you have a decent video or some sort, most people will hang out. But if you have spotty audio, people will not want to listen because a lot of people don't even watch.
Oh yeah, of course.
Honestly, like they'll have you on a second screen and just be listening to you and when they're working, right? Or
Oh
may or
yeah.
may not be. Yeah, sometimes they're just listening to audio, and audio is like the biggest one I would say. If you're starting out brand new in Twitch, kind of like you said, invest in audio and also
Hmm.
Twitch or VODs and make sure your audio is good. Because if your audios are bad, people are just gonna leave. Sometimes you get some nice people that will tell you, like, hey, your mic is muted, but not everyone's gonna do
Yeah.
that. Like that's the
Yeah,
biggest
not everyone's
one.
gonna do that too.
Like people will be like, is this guy talking or is he not talking? But
Oh
yeah.
yeah, and there's also a big difference between headset microphone audio and standalone mic audio because
Yeah,
I
true.
remember watching somebody playing either Marvel Rivals or Genshin, and then you can hear them literally breathing very loud into the headset microphone when they're not speaking, and it's like
Yeah.
are they like Darth Vader or something?
I mean, the biggest one is like breathing. If there's background noise, like fans or other things. I mean, I have the same issue. I have like sirens because I live between two freeways, so like sirens can be a thing. But I bought a mic, so theoretically, unless I'm talking, you won't hear it. But sometimes if I do talk
Okay.
and it's happening, then you'll hear it. But yeah, I have a dynamic mic where it's just a Shure mic, if anyone wants to know about that. But yeah, it's not sponsored by
Yeah.
Shure, but just like any of those kind of mics that are dynamic, it could like takes away the outside sound, and then you still have to modify it a little bit. I have it attached to a podium like away from my desk, so if I hit my desk, I
Mm.
won't hear audio. But if it's like if I hit the other thing, I will hear it. But yes, that's a thing too. Yes, you want to work with your mic. They're more forgiving on visuals, but like my audio is the biggest one I would say. If you're someone new, is just make
Yeah.
sure people can hear you. People can not hear you breathing all
Yeah.
the time, and you don't hear your mom yelling at you outside or something like that. That's the craziest one. So you hear audio and you'll hear their parents or person streaming in the background. Just like those are the awkward ones, right?
Yeah, I think the good starter microphone that everybody is recommending was the Blue Yeti, which is
Yeah.
actually my first microphone when I first started.
You can get some cheaper ones like in Amazon, but just look at the reviews and also invest in filters on OBS. OBS is, for anyone who doesn't know, is just a recording mechanism they use for streaming. So it's a program you use to stream, and there's filters on there, and you want to like change your filters. And
Oh
every
yeah.
mic's going to be different on the filters, so you gotta have to
Yeah.
like it's a play around situation. Like record yourself, stream yourself, watch the VODs. Make sure you have VODs to watch because some people don't keep VODs
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah, but yeah, like Yeti works. I mean, I didn't have a Yeti. I had a cheaper mic. I still have it actually in my house, but it wasn't the best.
Yeah. When I used my Blue Yeti before, I had to add so many settings on that thing just to make sure that my audio sounds good. But when I
Yeah,
changed my mic to the Shure, I didn't have to change a lot of things. So they
yeah,
were okay right off the bat.
yeah. They're dynamic mics, which basically means that they're supposed to be close to your face, and it takes away from all the outside stuff. So yeah, those are good. You kind of want something like that, but those are pretty hefty.
Mhm.
Like if you're starting new streaming, I would not recommend that mic right now.
Oh yeah.
Because you're putting in like a $200 investment and you might not even know if you like streaming. Like that's not
Oh
streaming's not
yeah.
for everyone. Like, and
Yeah. Stream's not for everyone.
I would not invest $200 or $300 for a mic that you don't even know if you're gonna like streaming. I mean, you can use it for a podcast, maybe make a podcast, but there is you know, unless you're podcasting or streaming, you don't need that mic. I mean, you can sound the best in Marvel Rivals if you want to, but that's not gonna help you.
Sound the best in trash talking.
I know. I was like, damn, that deep voice and that mic. He's calling me trash as this character, but man, I love that voice. You know, like it's a little different, you know.
Oh yeah. Before you spend money on expensive equipment, just make sure you're gonna commit. Because if you don't,
Yeah.
there's a lot of money down the drain.
Okay, here's the thing. A lot of people when they first start streaming may stream like on their
Mhm.
Xbox or PlayStation, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
I would recommend that if you like don't want to invest in a PC or don't want to invest in a capture card. And that's a good investment. I invested in a capture card and then I streamed like with a cheap
Mhm.
laptop and that's how I started streaming.
Mhm.
But worst case scenario, if that didn't work out, I'd be able to like record stuff if I wanted to YouTube or something. But don't invest so much money in something that you know you're not even gonna like.
Mm.
So just try it out first. Even if you have heavy
Oh
breathing
yeah.
mic, you know, as long as Sydney's not there trying to say, I can hear you breathing, you're fine, you know.
I know some people who directly stream for their Xbox and their mic is studio quality. I have no idea how they do that.
There's some mics that are way better than others. I think Arctic and some other ones are really good. There are mics out there that are really good even on Xbox, PlayStation, yeah, like those type of games. You could definitely stream and it would be okay. Yeah, and I know some people that do have that. Like they just stream from there. So anyone that does do that, there are limits to that. You can't have overlays as well. You can't have a lot of things are missing from your stream, which may hinder you a little bit, but it's still a good starting place. And then once you find that you enjoy it, then switch over to something else if you want to. Like I think there's a streamer we mutually know that originally was streaming. She was only streaming on a PlayStation or Xbox, right? And then she got a PC with some funds that she got, and then she switched over to PC gaming. I was streaming on PC, but I would do capture card to reduce PC load.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, totally. You mentioned earlier about when people don't necessarily watch your streams all the time. Sometimes they could be doing other things on the side too while they're listening in.
Yeah, so in Twitch or other streaming platforms are called lurkers. Lurkers technically were meaning to be like people that are watching a stream but just listen to auditorily. But now lurkers means either that or they have you tabbed up. And actually, lurkers are really good on a stream. Even if you don't have a chat that's talking, if you have people that are lurking a stream, you went from a 0 viewer stream to like 5 viewer stream. And that means there's more eyes potentially on your stream. And it's good to have those people, whether it's your secondary account or you have family or friends on your account, or like if you're first starting, it does help to have like another person to watch your stream, not only to give you a review of your stream, but also people that just there to look like there's more people there. I have a tendency where I have a lot of Twitch friends, so I will put them on, tab them up and leave them on in the background, and so I help them with a viewer account. And then once in a while when I'm not doing something else, I'll pop in and say hi or whatnot, or sometimes I'll just lurk the whole time and I won't say anything, but I'll be there. Some of the people have a thing called stream avatars where they can see a little guy showing up and they know I'm there. Other people don't have that. Yeah, so I was saying that because Sydney has that. But yes, there are people that do notice when people are lurking. And if you have lurkers, don't call out your lurkers all the time. That's not the best etiquette. But I do occasionally get people where they're like, I know someone's here because they're looking at the viewer list and they like notice my that. I'm like, oh God. But yes, you'll have people that will lurk in your stream, and those are like, honestly, there's unsung heroes of Twitch, I would say, because those people having people like that are good because it helps your viewer count and also helps, entice people to come over and watch your stream. Yeah, you usually get people that maybe are working, depending on when you stream, you might be working while most people are working. Other times you might be streaming when people are sleeping or other things. So, and I know some people have 9 to 5, some people have other type of jobs, and don't expect people to be there all the time because that's unrealistic in yourself to think that.
I remember I was watching a workshop related to personal branding, and apparently one of the lessons there is lurking is the new networking. What I heard from that video. I think in your case you lurk in a lot of people's channels though, but I think, is there such a thing as like an effective lurking and lurking that doesn't really benefit the streamer, doesn't really benefit you? But what's the proper tips on lurking while building friendships on Twitch or on Discord or other places?
I would say when you lurk, you definitely helps to like say hi at least and say like, hey, what's up? How are you doing? How are your day going? But sometimes also just when you're first starting someone, you might want to lurk to see how they are and how they engage with viewers. So sometimes if you're trying to network, you're trying to look at the person and see like, how do they talk to people? Is it someone you want to interact with in the future? So that if you're talking about the networking, that's one way of doing it, is just getting a sense of like, is this a person you would like to hang out with? Because like some people, it's almost like a clique with some people with Twitch, ironically, is like, unless you're part of the clique, it's kind of like you're left out. And then other people, it's they're very opening and will like let anyone come in. And so when you're lurking, you can kind of get a sense of that's kind of what you're looking at. And then some people do look at lurkers, and so they might see you lurking and then pop up to your channel to see who was lurking. So that does happen as well. So it kind of varies. I mean, it's like anything in Twitch, is networking can vary person to person. and how you interact with people vary. Some people want you to like be there all the time. Some people just want you to say hi. If you're trying to network, probably the best way to
Hmm.
network is probably chatting in chat and talk to other viewers. You're not necessarily trying to
Oh yeah.
steal viewers, but you're trying to interact with them and get
Mm.
to know them. And then a lot of times, people, if they know you well enough, they'll check you out and like, hey, oh, this person always is in this chat and he seems to be chill. Let me go see what he's doing. And so that's how I've had some people show up in my chat. It's like I'm chatting with a streamer friend, and then the person realizes I stream either through a shout out or other ways. With Twitch, there's emotes, which are little like icons that you can
Hmm.
give your own channel and once you're affiliated, and you'll have that as a way
Hmm.
of kind of showing who you're from. But yeah, it kind of varies. I mean, for you,
Yeah.
how do you think lurking works? Do you like it or don't like it?
Well, if it's used effectively, then yeah, it can work. It allows me to get to know the other person while I'm busy because I can't be in chat all the time because sometimes
Yeah,
I'm busy doing
sure.
other things, right?
Yeah.
And then it also gives me an idea if I still want to be around this person or not, because sometimes they change over time and then it makes you realize, I don't want to be with this person anymore because their values are very different than when I first got along with them, and makes me decide to network more intentionally and more strategically. Stick with the people that I still can get along with.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any human dynamics of any sort of thing, whether you're doing a job or Twitch streaming, there's always that situation where you got to figure out, should you invest all your time on this one person or invest time in this other
Mm.
person and see if it's worth it? Because there is like a kind of transactional aspect of anything that you do. And you got to see if this is worth that time and effort to engage this relationship still, or if to
Yeah.
consider other people and see if maybe looking on this one person all the time isn't worth the effort, or maybe you moved on. Like at one point in your life you loved hanging out with this person,
Yeah.
but you're no longer that same person anymore, and
Yeah,
they're no longer
exactly.
the same person anymore, so it's kind of like you kind of
Yeah.
drift apart a little bit.
Yeah, I experienced that quite a lot during my
Yeah.
journey on Twitch, where yeah, I just don't want to be with this person, not just because they don't invest in you anymore, or they
Yeah.
don't really support you anymore, or there's no conflict resolution, or
Hmm.
there's a bit of passive aggressiveness in there. So it does happen.
Twitch is made by humans, and humans by nature, there are feelings involved, and these feelings can be
Yes.
positive or negative, and sometimes
Mm.
these feelings will go beyond rational thought, and you will result in people just not having a good time, and you have to move away from that situation, or you may pursue
Yeah.
a better relationship. So it just kind of depends on the situation, and it's kind of hard to tell. I've had some friends that I consider not more acquaintances now because they did stuff
Mhm.
or things happened between us that kind of changed our dynamic, and I don't really collab with them anymore. And other people that I got to know because like I wasn't with person A, now I'm with person B, and because of them I'm with person C. It's interesting. Like that's the thing with Twitch or any streaming thing or anything you do, there is that human connection, and you have to
Yeah.
consider like everyone's human. Whether
Yeah, everybody's human. Yeah.
there's not like right or wrong. It's just like sometimes you just got to walk away from things, and sometimes you find the
Yeah.
people that you want to engage with are better, like over there instead of over here.
Yeah. And I think these are things that you don't get to learn by playing video games all the time. You have to learn about these things from elsewhere, right? Maybe like, I guess, reading the news or reading some books or learning some things, maybe reading some articles or listening to other podcasts and whatnot.
I think the best way is living life in itself and seeing how things
Yeah.
go, and then you learn it from books, podcasts, other things as well. Even games can tell you like life stories in itself, and you just kind of learn things. So yeah, you learn it from
Mm.
multiple sources. Education, a lot of things can change the dynamic of how you interact with the world. But yeah, I agree. Like that's the thing is you will learn, like you said, people will come and go, and then you'll learn from
Yeah.
it, and then you'll process things and just like have to switch things around. So I'm pretty sure the person you were when you first started Twitch was very different than the Twitch person you are now. So I'm assuming the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of cultivating human connection and we're all human, I think there are other ways to do that besides Twitch, because you have a Discord server for your channel, right? And you're a
Yeah.
member of other streamers' Discord
Yeah.
servers.
The thing with Discords is, okay, when I first started, it was a really great place to go and meet people. When I first
Mm.
started, there was a lot of people that did trade Pokemon and we used to engage a lot. During the pandemic, that was like the biggest social interaction a lot of people got because everyone was locked down,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think now, although some Discords are active and stuff, and I do recommend
Mm-hmm.
still having maybe one or being a part of one, I think most of
Mm-hmm.
the engagement I get are usually between like private messages, especially between streamers. So it kind
Oh
of
yeah.
varies like on person to person. Like for example, I play Baldur's Gate 3 on Saturdays with three other people, and we plan the whole thing around everyone's schedule. And so we do that through
Oh yeah.
Discord. Yeah. So, and also, like, you're not giving out your phone number to people. So, Discord's like alternative to giving out your information. I use Discord mostly, but people use Twitter. Though
Mm.
I heard Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, is going to get rid of DMs
Oh yeah.
soon. But yeah, like,
Ugh.
there are other ways of communicating. At one point, it used to be Facebook, but that's kind of
Oh
changed
yeah.
also. I know a lot of people use TikTok or Instagram as a way to communicate. So that's another
Mm-hmm.
form. So you kind of have to go with the times. I personally think that Discord is kind of like at this point like more of a one-to-one thing or groups thing.
Okay.
So like my Discord, although there are a lot of people there, there's not as much engagement. And I do try to like ask questions and stuff, but I'll admit like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes my Discord is kind of like very dead. Not everyone's Discord is dead, but some people's Discords are
Yeah.
dead. And most of the engagement I have is through one-to-one messages between people or group messages between people.
Mm.
So it varies on person to person. I mean, do you use a lot of engagement on Discords yourself?
Well, very similar to you, where I plan collabs, or if somebody asks if they want to play some Repo or some Marvel
Yeah.
Rivals or some Fortnite, they ask in the DMs.
In the DMs,
They
yeah.
want to play some
Yeah.
Fortnite. Yeah.
Yeah, like I have a joke command of mine is like slide in your DM. So usually that's the joke is like I feel like most streamers like slide into DMs, whether it's related to something with stream or other things. But yeah, I feel like DMs are like the best way to communicate nowadays. But female streamers a little bit more conservative on who they like message because there's a lot of questionable things that are done. I mean, even with guys, it's the same thing. But yeah, like
Yeah. Same thing.
sometimes there's a barrier when you first chat with someone because like you may not be able to chat with them because they had bad experiences in the past. And even myself, I like to be straight to the point, but some people don't straight to the point. I'm like, hey, what do you want? Because a lot of DMs I get are the spam ones where it's like, hey, I saw your channel
Oh yeah.
and I have art that I can show you. Do you want to see my art profile? And I'm like, no, I do not want to see your art profile. I'm good. If I want art, I would go with someone else I already know. So it's DMs, they are a good
Mm.
tool, but you got to be at the place of like where it even can use that tool. And sometimes that's through like learning people through your Twitch socials, whether it be
Mhm.
YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, or Twitter. So, like there's different socials to use.
Okay. Well, keeping all these things in mind, like you said, you're very selective on who to DM. But what would you consider before answering somebody's DMs or DMing somebody on Discord?
You know, it's funny. A lot of times I don't start the DMs. People start the DMs on my side because I'm not usually like going out to yell at people in DMs. I think the most of the people have DM me personally. The biggest ones like usually when someone's birthday is coming up and like you're doing like a kudo board, which is like a birthday card, electronic
Oh,
birthday
okay.
card. Like I'll send
Oh,
messages out
okay.
like that. Those ones I've sent out probably. But yeah, if you're selective, like usually if you're a new streamer, usually I would recommend first talk about it in chat, like, hey, like I'm interested in, for example, using repo, right? So like I'm new to repo, like I
Yeah.
noticed you play repo. You happen to be have free time to play repo or something, you can say it in their chat. And then if they're
Mm-hmm.
interested, a lot of times we'll tell you like, hey, like message me in DM and we can figure out a time. Now, usually that's a good way, but you don't want to start your conversation with like the propositioning people. It's like you're like asking someone for a date. You don't like ask it right out with the bat, right? You're kind of like wanting
Oh
to
yeah,
like
of course.
to know them first. But yes, like I feel
Mm.
like that's one way. Like for example, one friend of mine, I knew her because someone rated me and I got to know her in my
Yeah.
stream. And then I met her in her stream and then we chatted on her stream.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mentioned how I needed help on OBS, right? And
Yep.
they messaged me, oh, I can help you on OBS. So they're like, oh, message me. Yeah, message you on Twitch or Discord. I'm like, Discord's probably better.
Mm.
So she's like, message me. And I'm like, I actually know this person IRL. I've met this person IRL as well. And because I was asking help about OBS, I didn't know how to do something in OBS because they mentioned something how to do like a nesting in OBS. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
kind of basically I was learning how to do that through them. And because of that, we got to hang out and We did some collabs a little bit, but not much. But then they ended up not streaming anymore. But I still talk to them to
Oh,
this
I see.
day. Yeah. So it just varies on what's usually it's usually a means to an end. Usually you'll send DMs, I feel, but it varies on person to person. I mean, what have you
Oh
sparked
yeah.
as your DM conversation? Did you like say, yo, I like how you stream. Let's meet tomorrow on the Discord. Like, how did you DM people?
Nah, I think I have to build rapport first. I mean, I
Yeah.
just don't send cold messages out of the blue
Yeah, I agree.
because
Yeah.
if that other person's not following me in the first place on Twitch, I don't think they're gonna reply in the first place, right?
Sure, sure. Yeah, I think like some people's whispers are locked down. I'm not gonna say any particular name, but there's a music streamer that's thing was locked down. And I was trying to send him like a birthday card for someone else, and I was like, "How am I gonna send this?" I had to go through another person to send them the information. I just messaged the person like, "Yo, can you give this person? Because I can't even message this person, and he's supposed to send this card for another person." I'm like, oh, "Just here, just send it to them," and then that's it. That's kind of how I was able to send my message. But yeah, like you need rapport to a point, yes, and
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like people, especially younger people, when they first start Twitch, when I say younger, I'm being general, but you
Yeah.
don't understand like the etiquette a little bit. So I used to get people
Oh
just
yeah.
like messaging me like, you want to collab on such and such, and I don't even know who this person is, or they'll be like, I was actually playing with them and they were co-streaming without telling me. So like here I am, and I'm like, wait, you're streaming right now? So like you want to tell people you're streaming with them, because like
Yeah.
if people know I'm streaming them because of like they're on my channel, but like if you're like playing with someone, you might want to tell them you're also streaming you're on your end, so that you don't say anything unknowingly you're saying anything, because who knows if they're like you're a mature streamer and they're like
Yeah.
PG-13 streamer, right? So yeah.
I know somebody who ran into the same situation before that they didn't know that they were co-streaming too. And I think she had like a panic attack because she
Yeah,
was really nervous.
I'm pretty chill on it, but like I just like to know the heads up. And also you have to realize it is online, so you don't know the real ages of people. And I know of an incident where someone wasn't 18. Later on they became 18,
Hmm.
but their jokes are very adult related, and then they found the other streamers found out he wasn't 18, and were really on her case
Hmm.
about that, because like it was a little drama. So there are drama situations too, like where you gotta have to know these people and what they are doing and stuff like that. So yeah, you have to come in with a little bit of mindset, because you don't want to get canceled before you even start. So you don't want to be like Kanye West and you get banned in your first stream. I mean, 7 minutes is good, but geez, that's a new record.
Wait, did someone get unbanned on Twitch recently after like 5 years and then he got banned almost immediately?
Probably, I don't know. I'm so behind. Like, I'm basically a person on the rock. Most of my chat tells me stuff that happens, but I did learn about the Kanye West one, which I thought was kind of funny. I was just like, I think it was like 7 minutes online, did some
Oh
questionable
yeah.
remarks, and then got banned within the minutes of streaming. I was like, bam! I was like, that snapped. I was like, damn. I was like, I could give him props for that. Like, how do you get banned that quick?
Oh yeah, and then I think there was another guy who created like 8, 9 accounts, and then he was trying to stalk Amaranth in
Oh
the
yeah, I
coffee
mean,
shop or
that,
something like
I
that.
didn't see that, but yeah, so if you're ever a moderator for a streamer, you may unfortunately see some crazy stuff, and that's unfortunately you have to be careful, especially if, like, I'm gonna say for female streamers, you do have to be careful
Mm-hmm.
about people that are stalking. Even guy streamers might have to. Luckily, I'm pretty
Yes.
abrupt with people, but yes, that's one thing one is concerned if you become streaming is make it very clear as to like your rules and mindsets, because you will occasionally
Mm-hmm.
get people that don't understand that. People either autistic, they don't understand etiquette, they don't understand a lot of things, and they may unfortunately cross a barrier. Sometimes they do it maliciously. Most of the time, it's usually because they just don't understand etiquette. So yeah, you
Oh
kind of have to
yeah.
be situational and be careful on when you start streaming, and be upfront and say, yo, don't DM me unless you have a reason to DM me or something like that. Like there are some people just like that. Like I had that with some kids, like I play Fortnite, and some kids like try to friend me and then like literally spam me invites on Fortnite. And I don't mind playing off stream, but a lot of times I don't play off stream with people because either I'm not on my desk, like when I play, I'm going back and forth from my desk. So sometimes I'll have Fortnite on and then I will not even be there and I'm getting invite spam emails and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to answer these things. I'll just go hide mode or something until they stop doing that. And then I'll be up telling him
Yeah.
up front, like, hey, you need to stop doing that.
Yeah, I think there's like a right way to ask for something, and then there's like a not so right way of asking for something, right?
Like you said, you got to build rapport first, and then you got to
Yeah.
like,
Build
you
rapport
got to
first.
ask for it. Don't expect it. And just be like, I know you played this. Like, do you mind if I join you in a game or whatever? That's usually a better
Yeah.
way of doing it than just like spamming
Yeah.
stuff or just assuming a person's going to join you or whatnot, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember one time where I had this viewer who gifted me a lot of subs, but then he tries to control pretty much everything in my stream. Like, for example, like, oh, you should drink beer with me, or your light should be better and this and that. Oh, your redeem should be like this. But then, I don't know,
Yeah.
it goes to the point that just let the streamer do his or her thing. And then if you don't like it, then just don't criticize other people for it. Don't try to control it. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to do something different, then do it on their stream, not don't do it on somebody else's.
Well, there's a parasocial aspect in streaming that you have to consider all the time. And so there are people that will like, because they gift you something or they like are
Yeah.
always on your stream or like they're your first follower, they feel like they deserve something and they have that
Yeah.
perceived thought. And you kind of have to like tell them like, yo, I appreciate the stuff you've given or the time you've taken, but this is my stream. I'm going to do it how I want to do it. And if you don't like that, you're more welcome to go. But you know, I'd
Mhm.
prefer you stay, and that happens a lot of times too. Is like when you first start streaming, some people get jealous, like especially become popular.
Yeah.
People become jealous, and
Yep.
they're like, oh my god, I knew this person before anyone else did. I'm the first sub, or like stuff like that. Yeah, or I've gifted 100 subs. Like you kind of have to like be like, yo, chill.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah, I
don't
gotta
you
be
don't
more chill.
yeah, you don't owe me because you did this. You know, if you, I don't want you spending more money than you have to. Like, I feel that's a little bit more like a VTuber and other bigger streamers issue. But even so, it sometimes does happen to smaller streamers. Like, I know a situation where someone got donated like about 1,000 plus from someone, and it was a stalking behavior thing that happened with this person. And
Oh wow.
yeah, literally, we had to ban the person, and then they made another account and then we had to ban them again, and then we had to block them from their Discord and block a lot of situations, and then we had to basically report them. They got the message after a while, but it was to the point where they were literally donating to send messages on stream, and it was kind of crazy. So yeah, there are elements like that where you have to be careful in the situations that you do, and if you do stream, sometimes you may have parasocial issues. It helps to be a little bit front forward though, and tell people when they got bad. The problem with that streamer was she was a little bit passive, and I told her to stop being passive because that's the thing too. You gotta make your ground on the ground, or they'll just push you more and more. Yeah.
Yeah, I know some other people on stream, they do this thing called trauma dumping. I'm not sure if you heard that term.
Yeah, so for drama dumping, it comes a lot on streams is people will come to your stream and just like will say like my cat got hit by a truck or like my grandma died.
Oh yeah.
And it's like out of nowhere. You're like you don't even know them, or maybe you do know them, and it's just like trauma. You're like literally having a fun night and then just like throw in something random. And for me, I usually say sorry that happened to you, but
Yeah.
like yeah, but hopefully you can enjoy stream and move on, or like, you know, you can do this or whatever. But yeah, like,
Yeah.
and that's the thing too. You have to be like careful too, because like some people I've seen where they're like, "Oh, just message me about it, and I can talk to you later about it." But that's also leaving it like a weird like loophole in the drama, like the parasocial relationship. So you gotta have to be a little bit like, say, "Yo, let's keep this stream a little bit upbeat," because I don't want to have like too traumatic event on stream. I mean, there are times when you need to have the conversation, but yeah, it kind of varies, and especially people that are suicidal, sometimes they will. You need to like tell them, here's a number. If you really are this is a number. But I mean, there's not much I can do for you right here. You need to see a specialist or someone, you know. But yeah, like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
there are a
and-
lot of trauma dumping.
Yeah, and then sometimes the streamer might not be paying attention because I think his squad is like the last 3 squads left in Fortnite, and he might not be paying attention to that message about someone's cat dying. So
Yeah,
it's not the right time for that. And I think there's proper places to talk about these kinds of things. I'm sure Twitch is probably not the best place for that. So I think it's better to talk about it in other places. Like for me, for example, I have
Yeah.
my men's support group called the Man Talks Alliance, where we talk about
Yeah.
struggles that we have for that. And it's an open place where everybody is inclusive, it's non-judgmental, and everybody gets to give you whatever support that they can give, because it's the right place for that, as opposed
Yeah.
to a place where everybody's playing Fortnite or other multiplayer games, or
Yeah.
might not be the best place for that, right?
Well, it's the thing is like I feel like a lot of it can vary on streamer to streamer. So some people don't
Yeah.
mind trauma dumping to a certain point, and others do. And then even the streamer themselves might be trauma dumping unknowingly. I've seen a lot of streamers do that as well. But yeah, like I agree, there should be a place like whether they get like a psychologist, their support group,
Hmm.
friend or family member. Yes, I recommend that definitely more. The only problem is some people may be in a position where they don't have that resources at the top of their head. But yeah,
Yeah.
like, you can't. Unfortunately, you can't be the therapist for everyone, so you kind of have to push them
Yeah.
to another place, whether that's something feasible for them or something electronic. But yeah, sometimes if someone says like I'm gonna off myself in Minecraft, I gotta have to say, hey, here's a number. Like if you really had to call this number, do that, right? So that's the thing too.
Yeah.
You can't always control that. And like also too, I've seen streamers where it's like they trauma dump on their viewers, and you're kind of like,
Mm.
I was like, I don't know if you should be doing this here. Like it's
Yeah.
opposite. Like there's also parasocial relationship can go both ways. Sometimes people can go really literally giving away too much information. I'm like, don't do that. So
Yeah.
it varies on person to person. But I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then they should not take it personally either if they can't get the help they need during stream. Because I remember followed this female streamer, and then I think somebody trauma dumped on her stream, and then she made it clear in her chat rules that there should be no trauma dumping, and then the other guy did it anyway, and then she had to ban him, and then that guy kept creating alternate accounts just to harass this streamer, and then she
Yeah.
had to keep banning every single
yeah.
account though. It's very scary.
Yeah, people project like if they're hurt or whatever they feel, they may project that feelings, and because there's this person A like basically didn't listen to them or do something they didn't like, then they basically use that person as like anger thing. So yeah, it does happen.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, we're talking about that one person I talked to before, kind of like yours, is when that person donated a bunch of money. I saw some of the messages the guy said, and he was anti-female, unfortunately, and he was just sending her very hateful comments, and I was just like, we gotta ban this person.
wow.
I'm sorry. And yeah, I can only imagine what she was going through too. So yeah, it kind of sucks. That's the thing with any kind of job that deals with humans or interactions, is you're going to get people like that. And also you're going to have to deal with stuff like that. And it does help. And in her case, she did have rules, but sometimes you just got to ban people and then just keep on banning them until they pop up, so I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, gotta enforce the boundaries.
Yeah, you got to force the boundaries. And then sometimes for me, I've had people troll on me, but then I just like kind of rebound it at them. I'll just like throw it back at them. And a lot of people don't know how to do it. When you throw something back at them, they're like, "Oh, this person can throw it back at me." What? They get confused. They're like, "Oh my god!" They got so used to people just throwing it out at them, like and accepting them for, or just like banning. I've had a lot of people like were known to be banned by people, and they end up following me and then they hang out in my chat because they're not used to someone dealing with them that way. So it's kind of funny. It varies on person to person. That's the thing. You don't know.
Yeah, it does vary.
Yeah, it varies a lot.
This has been a fun interview. Yeah, I've learned so much about you and how you deal with the different situations and how you interact with different viewers, not just on Twitch, but also on Facebook. I learned that today and on DMs on Discord.
The DMs in Discord, yes, you can. People slide on my DMs sometimes, Very sus DMs sometimes. Not just joking. Some of them, I don't know. I won't name any names. I'm not joking.
Am I one of them?
Do I want to know? No. I won't name anyone. But yeah, so you kind of have to just go with the punches and just like walk away from it.
Oh yeah, we just roll with the punches.
Yeah, I just roll with the punches and just walk.
Oh yeah, and one last thing before we wrap this up. What's the best place for other people to reach out to you and if they have any questions?
Well, not my DMs first, that's for sure. You can reach me on Twitch. I'm pretty open. Funny enough, my problem sometimes is not always reading chat. So sometimes having like a TTS that only you can hear helps a little bit. So I usually have that on my stream. You guys won't hear it, but I will. If I miss a message and I feel like this anywhere, just rewrite it because sometimes I'm either away or I am so focused in a game moment that like I'm on Fortnite that I can't pay attention to it. But yeah, the best way, probably I stream most on Twitch. I do also on my Instagram. They're all rbz2005. 2005 is not when I was born. I'm just gonna put that out there. I won't tell you what it actually is for. RBZ is the initials of my name. But yeah, RBZ2005. But I go by Z. And yes, I'm on Twitch, on YouTube. I multi-stream on YouTube and Kick. If you say hi in Kick, I might ask you if you're a bot because I get too many bots on Kick.
Oh yeah, there's so many bots in there.
Yeah, but yes, any of those platforms, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Kick, pretty much anything RB2005, I'm probably on there. Not Blue Sky, but I still don't understand it stuff. But yes,
It's like Twitter.
Yeah, it's
not
Twitter.
without the whole.
Yeah, it's a weird like peer-to-peer thing, and I'm just like, I don't know if I want to do that. Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, you can find me on there. But usually, I am streaming mostly on Twitch. My Twitch is usually the one that has the most active chat. But for example, too on YouTube, it's not like on Twitch. Unfortunately, there's a lot of ads. But if you're on YouTube or Kick, there shouldn't be any ads. I know ads suck all around. So if you like that's another way I try to avoid ads is YouTube, and it's a little different chat, but I still see it regardless. But yeah, that's the best way to reach out to me. Not my DMs right away, no, but that's my ground rules. Yes, you can reach me there. But yeah, enjoyed talking with you, and it was fun chatting as well.
Yeah. All right, thanks so much for taking the time to do this interview, and I'll catch you in your next stream on Twitch.
Yeah, I'll chat to you as well. I'll say, or maybe lurk.
Okay. All right, catch you in the next one.
All right, see ya.